very much for inviting me to share some thoughts on the Malaysian higher education as it is today. And before I proceed, let me take this opportunity to wish all of you a happy and blessed 2015. Inshallah, this year would be a better year with more barakah. A lot of times, people do not start off by telling you what's the mission vision, and sometimes this is very important in leadership. If you want to move, you got to know where you're going, and therefore the mission for Malaysia higher education is to be international hub of higher education and excellence by 2020, and the mission is to develop and provide a conducive environment that encourages 5 excellent centers of learning and research, as well as producing individuals who are competent, innovative, with high moral values that fulfill the national and the global needs. So in terms of history, basically, for all our Nigerian friends, this is to inform you that we started out as one ministry, and then we broke off to become 2 ministries, of which we separate the education from the higher education, and in this case, higher education is inclusive of Tibet. And then we became one again in 2013 because we find that if we are separated into 2 ministries, seamlessness from primary, secondary, tertiary education will not happen, because when we are talking about 2 different ministries, things can decide on their own. But now we decided to be one again, because if you want to see seamlessness in education, there is a need for us to be together. And currently, for your information, there are 20 public universities and 512 private higher education universities and university colleges. This is the latest information. I'm sure after this, many will take this slide, because you need to know what is the status of the army of higher education. All in all, despite sending our students overseas, there's only 71,621 academics in the country. And those with PhD is only 21.59%. Yeah, only 21.59%. And if you ask how many lecturers are there in the public universities, only 33,000 plus, and of that, only 36% have PhDs. If you ask in the private universities, we have 24,000 plus, but only 13.27 are with PhDs. So if you want to move the research agenda in the country, you got to look at your army. How many PhDs are there? So with that number of PhD, then where are we in terms of ranking, in terms of how we move knowledge-based economy, is also something that we need to consider. But if you are moving Tibet, there's not the great necessity to have too many PhDs. We have 7,000 polytechnics lecturers, of which only 43 have PhDs, and in community colleges we have 2,800 lecturers, only 3 with PhD. And we have, as I said, 20 public universities, 409 private colleges, 103 private universities now, 103 private universities is inclusive of 9 branch campuses. That means these are from Nottingham, from Southampton, from all the other top 100 universities of the world that can now set up in Malaysia. 32 polytechnics, 91 community colleges, and you can see how many research universities. 4 MTON out of the public university of 20, 5 are research universities, 4 are the Malaysian Technical University that train Tibet, 11 comprehensive universities, of which one of them is USIM, and then we have 14 high courses, of which at the end of the day, for Dato' Mustafa, we would like to reach 20. We have 3 premier polytechnics that can offer degree programs and 5 metro polytechnics. International students, altogether a total of 97,000 now in the country. No need to write down, Shaka, you can take the slide later. I have 8 eyes, so I can see when I'm taking the slide. So anyway, the public one, there is about 72,000. Private higher education institutions higher learning, we have 25,000. If you ask how many students are there in the country, 1.2 million, alright, of which steady Tan Sri Zul. We have now public at 560, private is 484 and climbing. And with Xiamen coming in, you're going to see a surge of number of enrollment of students. So this is something you need to know about, because the ideas from the government, the transformation plan, the all that is happening only in the public universities. The private have their own way of doing things. So at the end of the day, you're going to see probably, if we match, it's okay. Once you see a difference, that the private starts to go up, then you see that only 500,000 is having all the certain kind of mindset, and another more is having a different kind of mindset, and hopefully every one of us is working towards unification. So with polytechnics, there's about 89,000, community colleges about 21,000, and you can see here that therefore, if we want to move knowledge-based economy to all our Nigerian friends, there must be a balance between academic and TVET. Because academic is theory, TVET is skill. To move K-economy, you need the combination of both. And at the moment now, we are very lopsided. All the mindset of parents only want their children to go to the universities to get the degree. Right now, we are opening from 2015 onwards. We are now going to make sure that we can achieve the balance of having more students now going into skill, having PhD in skill. Right? So they will go down the TVET line, so that now there is a matching between the skill and academic. Alright? So for Malaysia, basically aims to become a country that can move knowledge-based economy by 2020. And once we start to think about that, the term key to transform the nation is education, and universities and other institutions of higher learning must be there to play a big role to deliver the expected transformation. Therefore, there is a need now to strengthen institutions of higher education and make them the engine of growth for nation building. And one way to do that is via research universities. But if you start having research universities in Nigeria, Professor Isha, you find that you cannot stop. If you have that, there is no such thing as yo-yo. One day you have, one day you don't. If you have research universities, they must continue, the government must continue to now support the research universities, and basically these are universities that have the infrastructure at the highest possible level. So, and it depends now on the country whether you can afford one or whether you can afford more than one. Okay? And of course the question is, how do we create research universities in the country? There is a need therefore to design an instrument that will fund the university concerned with indicators built in to ensure that nation building will take place and address the issues of governance, innovation and employability. And Alhamdulillah, on 2006, the history was created for Malaysian higher education with the establishment of 5 research universities, USM, UPM, UKM, University Malaya, and the latest kid on the block is UTM. And basically, research universities in the country, Malaysia can afford only 5 for the moment. Only the top 5 universities in the country who would like to be a research university will be considered for research university. So even those who are now having the status of research university, should you fall down with below the cutoff, then the research university status is withdrawn from that particular university. So, and the idea is to have increased publication to generate IP and be the engine of growth of the country and enhance the quality of life of the people. And therefore, research universities are expected to go through RDC, research, development, commercialization, having the set up the spin-off companies or enterprise, and having the research park. And to enhance human capital, we provide funding for them to provide scholarships so that they can be made available to postgraduates who now come into this country. And if you're starting for research university, it's important that we see performance-based, but it's important when we first start, you don't simply look at the output for the university. And that's usually the common game from the OIC. They just look for the output. It cannot be done. You have to look at the input, the process of how they deliver the quality. That is very important, and this is what I have informed the ministers of OIC. You cannot simply plug in and say, performance-based, what's your publication? Without looking into the game of the input, the process itself, how they're going to deliver, then only you can look at the output. And once after 5 years, this is how now the current research universities manage to, once you give the university performance-based, how they fare in terms of being a research university, and all data are verified by the panel, and only those above the cut-off will be recognized. And if we now get this recognition, you should be among one of the world's top 100 universities. This is a slide that probably Tan Sri Zul you need to see. After 7 years from the start of having a research university, essentially we started in 2007, and this is now a slide for 2014. So after 7 years, we still have not reached top 100 in the world, but after 7 years, we are already in the top 200, 300, 400, and 500. And you can see there that Universiti Malaya is at the top 200, Universiti Kebangsaan, Universiti Technology is in the top 300, USM, top 400, and top 500 to 600. The new kid on the game in the block now is the International Islamic University of Malaysia. I need USIM to see this because it is possible for an Islamic university to move up in the rankings. Okay, and UITM Shah Alam is now also up there. But if you ask where are our universities in Asia? In Asia, we are top 100. You can see UM at top 32, and the lowest is UPM at number 76. In Asia, USM seems to be doing okay at number 57 after UKM. But if you ask us, where is our university in relation to OIC countries, all the Islamic countries? This is important because this is where we are signing the MOU, and you need to see this in the 57 member countries OIC, among the Islamic countries. Leading the pack is Malaysian University. At Universiti Malaya, at 151. And despite the money, King Fahd, King Saud University, with all that money, is not there yet. Yeah? And therefore, you see that they are now, in the next one is King Fahd, and the next one is American University and King Saud University, followed by UKM and UTM. And then if you look at top 400, you begin to see all the other universities among the OIC that is now coming in. Don't worry, I give you the slide, you can study this at your own time. And if you look at top 500, it's there, but I'm sorry, I cannot see anything from Nigeria at the moment. Okay, and neither can I see Hussein. But I'm sure, you know, with the new leadership and everything else, you know, I couldn't do it, but I think Dato' Musa can. So, inshallah, yeah, we must have the strength to do that, and inshallah we can move to at least in the top 600. But you can see that the International Islamic University is there in the top 600 among the OIC countries. Yeah? Even Gajah Mada is actually below us, and Qura that we are, even Sharjah is not there yet. So, actually, we are not doing too badly after 7 years of having a research university, and I go all the way to top 700, where you begin to see now more of the other universities. Why do I do this? Because this is a homework that needs to be done. But since I have done this homework for USIM, you need to now know who you need to collaborate with, so that there is respect or strength to strength. Sometimes they are very good talkers, but at the end of the day, they don't really deliver. In fact, the Malaysian universities are doing much better in comparison. So, for you to be able to see where we stand in terms of OIC countries. In terms of publication, no problem. We have overtaken Thailand and Singapore, and the highest growth rate in terms of publication. This, Roshada, you don't have, is that we are now having greater than 444,000 citations. Tan Sri, you remember the days of USM, where from 2001 to 2006, for 5 years, we only have 14,000 publications and only 95,000 citations. Can you imagine the whole of Malaysia? This is not talking the research university, this is the whole of Malaysia. And suddenly now, with the advent of research university in 2007, you can see that in 2013, we have 24,000 publications, and cumulatively now, the citation also increased. So you can see now with the advent of research university by putting KPI, and now all the university, the 20 public university plus IPTS are now performing MYRA. So now you begin to see this surge in publication that is making Malaysia now moving as a country forward. Yeah? And this is for you to be able to now use this slide, Rashada, when you want to now find how you want to collaborate. So by using this slide, when I go to New Zealand, I take this slide and I compare now with QS based on the same discipline from New Zealand. So if you want that, that will be nasi goreng. Okay. Okay, so basically, this way you can now collaborate strength to strength. You can go around the world and say Malaysia is good in this area, and these are the universities that we are good at, where they are. If you look, the more further right you go, we are in the top 50. Yeah? So in USM, Tanzania is environmental science, top 28 in the world at the moment for USM. And USM is doing very well in terms of computer science, in terms of engineering, chemical engineering, of course, in terms of civil engineering, in terms of aeronautical, pharmacy and pharmacology, top 100. You see all this is there. So this is how you can immediately use this slide. We use this slide when we go to Yemen. If people want to now sponsor their students to come to Malaysia, they ask the question, where do I send my student? If the student is engineering, we say here, these are the universities. Pick which one you want to go. So it's easier now for them to collaborate. If we want to do research collaboration, Mustafa, just look at this. We now have the strength. Now we just compare, all right, with their strength. You see now immediately. So even New Zealand has taken this slide because now it makes their life so much easier. They can collaborate straight within this discipline, and I have done also for New Zealand. So wherever I go, I have done how you can collaborate the matching with New Zealand, with Taiwan, with Australia, with Morocco, with but Morocco and Tunisia unfortunately do not have anything yet. But what's missing here is Islamic banking and finance, of which Malaysia is #1. So now you can see, if you are too much into the ranking and you play the ranking game, you will miss out what is Malaysia's strategies. Tropical medicine, tropical diseases, Islamic banking, finance, all this is not here. So this is why we have to make sure that higher education is not just into ranking. Yeah? And of course, this is another thing, Professor Isha, that immediately the Thomson and Reuters have recognized 4 professors in Malaysia as the top 1% of the world, and hello, all of them are Muslim. I was expecting a non-Muslim to move up, but none of the names of the non-Muslim, Malaysia, we are multiracial, so I was expecting that to also happen. But voila, the 4 that is named, all 4 are Muslim. So Malaysia boleh. So all 4 are Muslims in the field of engineering and mathematics. Yeah? So that is and of course Professor Abdul Latif has since then gone and won the Merdeka Award recently. And don't forget, our local journals are also making it. We have in Scopus 67 Malaysian journals. In RSI, we have 11. Top of the line country is Bulletin Mathematics of USM, quartile 1. This is a quartile 1 journal. Based on when I was there, we nurtured the 15 journals. Out of 15, in 3 years, 11 became in Scopus, and top of the line is the Bulletin Mathematics. You know why I want to tell you this? Because it says to the world, Malaysia is good in mathematics. You have to see where the journals are. You jangan pelakir mana in Malaysian journal, because we are doing up there, and therefore please publish in the Malaysian journal, so that because we already UKM, with Science Malaysia Ghana, we don't have quartile 2, but you can see from here, we have quartile 1, which is Bulletin Mathematics under Dato' Rozihan. Then we have quartile 3 and quartile 4. Somewhere along the line, we miss out quartile 2 journal, but it's moving up, and I'm hoping that the quartile 3. So this is where now I will need to come in with mapping and see whether the ministry can move, because it depends on the Vice Chancellor. If the Vice Chancellor is not helping this, then we all the frequency of the journal publication is very important, Professor Zul, and to make sure that if Ulum Islamiyah is moving up, it has to have frequency, it has to have quality, minimum 3 volumes and 12 paper per volume. That's all. We need to maintain that with frequency, and inshallah Unur Islamiah will also be there. Well, if you talk about 5 universities, what about the whole quality of higher education in Malaysia? Everywhere you go, people will say to you the perception, higher quality is going down, higher education is going down. I ask them, on what basis? On what basis are you making the perception? So you see, this is data. So this is evidence-based. So this is what they're saying, where we are, even in the OIC, even in the rest of the world, and in terms of quality higher education for the whole country, not talking only about the 5 research universities, we are number 28 out of 50 in the world. And this is University 21 ranking. And this is where we went in, and out of that country, comparison with countries of same GDP, we are number 22. Okay? So as we now move towards internationalization, alright, our target to move international students is to have, now we are at 97,000, so we need to move to 150,000 by 2015, to 100,000 by 2020, and 250,000 by 2025. Okay, this is the aim. By the end of the day, there can also be a trade-off of maintaining only quality, that means we bringing only quality international students and not just to have just the quantity. Yeah? But if you ask what are the initiatives that the government higher education is now moving, enhancing joint research collaboration is one. Mobility programs is another, that goes undergraduate, postgraduate, masters, and also exchange of staff. Postgraduate, mobility among those undergraduate, postgraduate education, undergraduate education is also there. And don't forget, in Malaysia, we have international schools that people come in and send their children when they are in the secondary. And if you combine those with the international school, the number of international students now is 116,000. In postgraduate and undergraduate, remember, we allow you to come bring in undergraduate international capped at 5%. Ulang suara, capped at 5%. We do not cap the number of postgraduate international that you bring in into USIN. But for the undergraduate, it's capped at 5%. That means if you offer that course in Arabic language and you don't have enough takers, you can bring in international students from Indonesia, whatever, to take up the undergraduate Arabic course up to 5% increment. Yeah? And you charge them full. You charge them full fees. Alright? So for all undergraduate, that is the government link. So basically, we can also connect research to market. We have professorial chairs. Right now, 5. Don't tell me. Okay, we have professorial chairs. Razak chair. Tolong. Okay. From at Ohio, at Leiden, Victoria University in New Zealand, now Malaysian Studies, Beijing, Foreign Studies in China on the Bahasa language, and Hancock University also on the Malay language. And we have also knowledge transfer that we would like to have, and this is the relationship that USIN is now having with the Islamic Universities of Nigeria on knowledge transfer, and perhaps also on joint research collaboration and postgraduate education. And very important, Professor Isha, is that at the moment we do not have joint working groups. Joint working group means it's a bigger agenda that is top-down, moving all that is happening in the country. So right now we have JWG Korea, we have JWG New Zealand, we have JWG Australia. Okay, so if you want to move Nigeria into the game, it has to be on that. Or it can move now on the OIC collaboration that we are now doing. Yeah? In terms of international students to Malaysia, we now rank as the 9th top destination for international students as measured by UNESCO in 2014. So, if the quality of education is good, you begin to see that students start to come into Malaysia. In fact, if you look at Australia future scenario, they are also getting worried because they used to get a lot of Malaysian students coming into Australia, but now most of the Malaysian students are actually studying here because they're getting better quality education here in the country. And despite that, we still are sending students overseas. So we now have 69,000 plus Malaysian students now studying abroad. And I was thinking maybe it's UK, but it's not. The number one is Australia. You see, when you start doing this kind of data, that is how now you begin to see exactly what's happening in the country and what's happening where the students are going outside Malaysia. Australia, 20,000, United Kingdom, 13,000, Egypt, the next one on the line, and then United States, Indonesia, Taiwan, China, Russia, New Zealand, India, and the rest. Yeah? This is the top 10. But at least now we know there are about 69,000 plus Malaysians abroad studying. And in order to help the Malaysian students abroad, this is Education Malaysia, which is under the Department of Higher Education directly with me, and this is 13 Education Malaysia offices located worldwide, so that we can now cater and help with the Malaysian students overseas. So basically, Hussein, when you travel, please stay at Washington or Chicago or Los Angeles. Contact them because they can either provide the rooms for you, because like EM UK and London have a Malaysian hall. We're buying a second hall now, so basically it's going to be a lot of rooms available. There's no reason why you need to have to stay in a hotel should you decide Tuan pendaftar untuk have collaboration in London. So it's near Hyde Park, so it's close to the Oxford as well. Oxford Street, not Oxford University. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to say. You don't have to go to a hotel, you can connect with EM. If you want to do now, what do you call this, collaboration, and you want to have this exam, when you go globalize online, and you want to have this exam, EM office is big, EM can conduct the exam on your behalf. So you don't have to find another partner, pay rent, and have that partner to conduct the exam for you. The EM officers nearby can also do that. Okay? So, and the EM, Education Malaysia, is also previously known as the Malaysian Student Department, but they do more things now. They do global networking. That's why, Pak Nadia Pasal, if you are now going, you want to collaborate with UK, which university is that? This is what EM does for you. EM will connect for you with these universities. Like when we went to New York, EM will connect for us all the necessary, otherwise you don't know. So they know the inside story, so that's how we get to know more than just a regular reading on the internet, you know. So, and we facilitate MOU, MOA, do that. They also promote Malaysia, and they also handle Malaysian asset overseas. So, coming to the resolution of the Malaysia-Africa Summit, recently held in 2014, we have the resolution as an exchange of scholars, mobility program for students, for researchers, for leaders, for educators, philosophers, whatever, and creation of expert and the database that we'll have now, who are the experts in Malaysia, and what are the research areas they're doing, and then a database of what are the experts in the African University and what are they doing, so that we can now connect. Database for expert and research area for Malaysia is available from our BPKI, which is the research part, the one that provides FRGS grants, so you can ask Professor Rahal for the Directorate of Expertise. But from the Africa, Professor Ishak, this is the time perhaps that you might want to be able to do that, so that now the collaboration can take place, and of course with joint research collaboration as well. And part of the resolution was to enhance Islamic banking and finance knowledge transfer with priority areas, priority lies in developing Islamic finance curriculum with integrated scholarship in Islamic finance, and to have academic development in areas that is Sharia compliant investors, this shared ethical preferred investors, and return performance sensitive. All this was there as part of the Malaysia-Africa Summit, but essentially Hussein is already performing part of this. Yeah. And grants, okay. Grants can be obtained via international funding agencies like World Bank and African Development Bank, and all the work hopefully will benefit and serve the Africa-ASEAN University Development Network and Association of African Universities in Africa. What I'm trying to say here is that the grants can be obtained from JPT under FRGS, but the money cannot leave the country. So if we are performing this collaboration, Africa must find African, we will find Malaysian. And then when you want to now move this agenda, so you can have that they pay for the flight, but once they are here, the grant kick off to take care of them here in Malaysia. And when Malaysians go to Africa, we pay for our flight, but once they reach Africa, then African grants take off to now cater. But the African Asia University Development Network Bank or African Development Bank, then that's a different matter altogether. Yeah. So before I leave to prepare Malaysian higher education today for tomorrow, I need to say that the higher education blueprint is ready and is about to be launched in April. But before we form the blueprint, there is a need for us to look at what are the 21st century challenges to education. And we now know that global economic crisis is here to stay. And we also are faced with the challenge of when you have global economic crisis, you need to cut the overhead costs, reduce central administrative costs, you understand all that. But I find that instead of reducing money budget, I find that Hussein's budget is increasing every year, and therefore harus bersyukur. Okay, and Hussein seems to be coming out from the slum now and moving into richness. While other people, their budget has gone down. But basically, this is the time that you should use that budget well and be able to now move the university while you are hot property. So basically, also we have to face with the accelerating pace of change to the coming of the digital age, and therefore the staff need to be efficient and effective. And of course, we need to worry about global competition with the advent of globalization because ASEAN 2015 is now there. So in the era where the future of the world is shaped and transformed by the findings of science and technology, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, science and technology is moving the world. There is a need to do that, and that's why the integration of NACLI and ACLI will put science and technology on the correct path. And driven, however, by innovation. This is something that perhaps a lot of Malaysian students are lacking, which is critical thinking. The lecturers also have to teaching them critical thinking, not just innovation and creativity. What about critical thinking? And this is one of the points raised by employers. Why most of the students, if they cannot get a job, is that when they start to ask questions on critical thinking and ask them to provide solution to problem, the students are unable to do so. Yeah, so this is something that needs to be there. And this next one is entrepreneurial mindset, Professor Ishak. This is another one that needs to be there as well as a top priority in our education system, from primary, secondary to tertiary education. But before we start to form the blueprint and you start to talk about things like this, all right, there is a need for us to now ask the question. Before we decide what kind of university we want, we must decide what kind of society to build. That is very important because what you train in the curriculum, what you deliver in terms of the product, which is a student, is very important that you look at what the curriculum is addressing. And unfortunately, when I start to visit the OIC countries, a lot of them are very secular. They can be in Islamic university, but the thinking is very secular. They teach Islam like this, but the way of life is different. So it's not quite what, you know, and the word they say is that, and I say to them, you are very fortunate to inherit Qarawin University. The first university in the world comes from Qarawin, yeah, at Fez, right? It's an Islamic university. The first university in the world. Of course, set up by a woman, Fatimah Wajidri, woman, Mushada. So, the first university, and Qarawin University emphasizes on mathematics and science, and Islamic studies. But today, only Islamic studies. And even then, also now fading out. Okay? Then we went to Tunisia, Qarawin, another one, where you know, because the Fatima comes from Tunisia, so we have to go to Tunisia to see where Fatima comes from, right? Tunisia says their university Qarawin, Qarawin, whatever it is, Qarawin is older than Qarawin. But you go there, there's no place for wudu. There's no place. The wudu is WC. inherit all the Islamic Renaissance. But only in Malaysia we practice Islam. You see? So that is where I have to tell all of you, you know, whatever you may say, at the end of the day, please visit. Then your eyes will open and you will see the difference. When I was in Morocco for the first time in my life, I cannot pray in the mosque. I have to pray on the street. Because there's no place for women to have wudu, only men. And so I have to wudu in the WC. And it's too far away from the masjid. So I have to pray on praying mat that is hanging on the tree. So the tree is outside the WC. So we have to take, you know, the praying mat and just pray on the street while people are just walking by. I went to the minister's airport business class lounge. I asked, where can I pray? Where can I go wudu? The fellow showed to me the WC for regular people, OKU. So, okay, I have a bigger toilet because it's for OKU. Then I said, where can I pray? Wudu room is there, prayer room is there, full of men sleeping. Where is for women? Nothing for women. So, where can I pray? Oh, I have a place for you, special. It was, he opened it was a staircase landing. So now, I pray at the staircase landing. Then I said, cannot be like this. I went to Qatar, stopped at the ministerial, you know, lounge. Qatar, world's richest country. How can we go wrong? The carpet is there, thicker than hell. Alright? There's a wood, yes. Okay. There's a place again. No place for women to pray. So we have to lock up the room and allow the women to pray first. Okay. You see, but here it is automatic. Alhamdulillah. How can we not appreciate that? Oh, the airport, you have surah for wanita, for laki-laki, wudu, no problem, you can take. You go to any university, shopping mall, no problem. But so much problem as far as just taking wudu is concerned. So anyway, that is the calculation. Again, like I said, alright, we must decide what kind of society to build, and the turnkey to transform all this is education. And this is the reflection. Jika ingin melihat masa hadapan sebuah negara, maka lihatlah pada golongan belia. Jika baik akhlaknya, maka akan baiklah masa depan negara itu. Tetapi jika sebaliknya, maka negara tersebut akan hilang. So the English is there. You want to see the future of the country, look at the youth. If their character is good, then the country will flourish. But if they lack character, then the country has no future. So higher education blueprint, therefore, need to balance. So we balance now between akhlak or character and ilmu, which is knowledge. So the higher education blueprint, I moved this in fact, and it was received by all, because I couldn't say the word nakli and akli because we are multi-racial country, but everybody agreed on character, on akhlak with universal values, and to be balanced there with ilmu or knowledge. And this is very important because we are also prepared. The rise of Asia, as you know, is unstoppable. 2015, ladies and gentlemen, is liberalization, and therefore tomorrow's economy, education, skill, etc. is all about Asia. But with the liberalization of ASEAN economic community, we are no longer preparing our students just for Malaysia. We have to prepare our students now for ASEAN. Because if we don't, then the ASEAN student will get a job here, and our students continue not to get a job. So it's very, very important that we prepare the education system. So therefore, global thinking is very important in how we design the curriculum. So of course, Dr. Musa has changed his talk to after lunch, where I can't hear what Musa is going to do. But I hope that in the planning, creating global citizen for Usin is there. And therefore, the Malaysian higher education system also needs to evolve to both in response to global trend as well as in preparation for further disruption. And this is how now we have the 10 big shifts now in terms of holistic, entrepreneurial and balanced graduate. Kita kata yang seimbang. So balanced graduate, higher learning talent excellence to take care of the lecturers, the nation of lifelong learners, quality TVET, empowered governance. We're giving autonomy to the university, 14 universities. Congratulations, Husin has also now gotten autonomy, and we are encouraging now the last 6 universities who are dragging their feet to now finish their autonomy so that 20 public PTA will receive autonomy. That shocked the ministers of OIC when we say that Malaysian university are given autonomy. Then they say, what do we do? How can we lose control if we don't control university? This is from the politics, from the ministers. You know, they cannot accept that the Malaysian university, we say we give the policy, but it is up to the Vice Chancellor now to be able to move that university. If he doesn't perform, we ship him out. Very simple. So this is the whole idea. Alright, and financial sustainability, innovation ecosystem, transform higher education delivery, global prominence, and globalized online. So, Husin, you are seemingly on the right track in terms of kita punya perancangan dahulu. Basically, Professor Ishak and the Nigerian team, what we want to do in higher education is not train our graduate to be job seeker, but job creators. Don't just come up there asking government, where's my job? Or where is my job? How come I don't get employed? But rather now to be on their own, to be able now to become job creators and create new businesses. A system that now is technology enabled, so that it is no longer, as Tan Sri Zul said, McDonaldization, but more now personalized. Not just everybody is the same. That means one size fits all, finish, pass. So we don't want that kind of thinking. And also now to not just be fixated on university, to do both academic and skill. So please, anak-anak, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, tak malu kalau masuk kepada politeknik, atau because we are moving polytechnic from degree all the way to PhD, but in skill. Alright, so that is the whole idea. And we now no longer look for input, we look for ROI, and the system now is rather no longer centralized, but now we're giving autonomy. And this, of course, not overnight. Autonomy is given to you in phases up to 2025, and the stakeholders now need to be fortified the quadruple helix. So we need to work together with industry, with the government, with venture. And you can look at the slides and see, but the student aspiration that we want to have is to have knowledge, thinking skills, and language proficiency and the ilmu or knowledge, and balance that with akhlaq, with in terms of their character, with national identity, leadership, skill, ethics, and spirituality. Professor Mustafa, in terms of commercialization, is no longer commercialization of R&D, but rather commercialization of ideas. Because Husin is behaving exactly as commercialization of idea. When I came in, I said not possible to move Husin because you are not ready yet for commercialization of R&D. But all the while, you are making money based on training, consultancy. That's what you are good at. To train, to teach people about halal, to teach people about Islamic banking and finance, to teach all these things. And this is the part and parcel of commercialization of ideas, not just R&D per se. Alright, so with that we have contract, research, knowledge workers, publication, etc. Suddenly now all our university, instead, if you ask the university, they make only 8 million in terms of commercialization of R&D, but commercialization of ideas, they make 1.2 billion. So in a matter of 5 years. So you can see now there's a difference there. So at the end of the day, what we want to see is that the universities have got to be respected, referred, and relevant. It doesn't matter whether you want to move university into ranking or be relevant to society, but both areas must be values driven. Yeah, and this is what the Egyptian and the Yemen, when they listen to this, they say don't lose it, because a lot of the time people just move for ranking, people move to be relevant to society, but values are not inculcated as part and parcel of the curriculum. So if I have more time, I will discuss on that. This is what we mean by high tech. We want to move the universities in terms of contemporary knowledge to be the highest achiever that you can get. But don't forget, when you have that knowledge, to transfer that knowledge now, so that you have the high touch is to be able to transfer knowledge to society, to the community, to the industry, and to the country. So this is, in essence, also part and parcel of Islamic perspective. Yeah. So with that, I thank you very much.
I believe that with this type of commitment it's likely that Malaysia will be on top. And I can also assure you that Nigeria, we are putting our eyes together, and by God's grace, being the giant of Africa, we will behave as such. But the question I want to ask is about creating academics from Tibet. When you talk of providing higher degrees in skills, can you see that at a point we might develop theories of skills?
No.
What are we going to do to ensure that those that are having these higher degrees in skills remain as skill providers and not academics?
Correct.
That's number one. And the second one is that, are we also not going to create a situation whereby the academics will become more theoretical, because they will be thinking that the skills people are there. I'm a mechanical engineer, a professor of mechanical engineer, I don't need to know how to do something because some other people are there. Is there going to be a way, a platform for both to interact at the level that the society will gain the intended goal?
Well, sure. Yes, make a move for all new curriculum, and also we're asking the vice chancellors to relook at the curriculum as well that is happening in the university. In academic, it's supposed to be 70% academic, 30% skill. In Tibet, it's going to be 70% skill, 30% academic. Must be there. Cannot be 100% skill. That is only meant for vocational certificate kind of thing. But if you are starting with the polytechnics, where they start to give degrees and whatnot, it has to be in the 70% skill, 30% academic. Okay, what is our problem when we want to move there? Our problem is lecturers. You cannot have this IPG coming out from the teachers training and they go into this polytechnic and whatnot, because they don't have the industrial skill. They need to come from the industry. They need to be immersed in the industry, then only they can come in to be able to teach. This is what we are lacking. So that is why now we are moving people from the industry now coming in. In fact, all the various chancellor PC, we are now saying in the university to not be theorists, because remember 70% academic, 30% skill. And that skill cannot come from you. You have to hire people from the industry to come in. So this is now why we are providing the autonomy now for them to be able to use but basically you can use the warrant for lecturer, and then you can top up with your own. And that's why under autonomy we are asking the universities now to generate income. USIM has to generate 12% of its income. Research universities are generating more than 30% already of the income. But basically we are now suggesting to the universities that the government will still subsidize. So we are asking university to go up to 35%, sorry, to generate income. The rest will come from the government. So different universities will behave differently. There are some universities which is still young. USIM is generating only about 6% of its income. So, but most of the older universities that is non-research university is already generating more than 12%. So USIM has got to start thinking, Professor Mustafa, in terms of commercialization of ideas. To now, not just R&D, but training program, all that. And USIM used to be charging, free. So basically now they have to start thinking to generate the kind of money. The mindset of entrepreneurial mindset needs to be there. But we are trying to balance. I agree with you. Our Tibet still requires some time to go up to the level that we would want. But the mechanical engineers and whatnot have to be able to do that, because it's part of their program to go down to be able to do some skill work. Now, to maintain that they in skill, remain in skill, we now, the government approved MBOD, Malaysian Technology Board, meaning to say this is a professional body that will make sure professional in this field is there for all the technology-based Meaning to say they will not go into academic line. They will remain in there, and that's what this professional body is all about. To maintain that they have the professionalism and that they have salaries that is now, to create what is minimum for that particular professional. So that, plumbers, electrician, all these, they have a minimum pay. Then only you can create the professionalism for that. We already have for lawyers, we already have for doctors, we already have for pharmacy, for dentists, we have for nurses. So now we have now for TVET, also a professional body. It takes time to do all this, but it has been approved by cabinet. So now it's a matter of now implementing it. So these are the things that we have to go through. So it's a shorter learning curve for you if you want to move.
I'm happy that here in Malaysia, the academics are in the higher education sector, and I congratulate you for your appointment. Now my question is, how do you synergize between the aftermath of entrepreneurship skills and then settling down to practice what you have learned in terms of government support
Yes.
and other things? Then again, pre-graduation, how do you arrive at the skills to teach?
Entrepreneur. Yes. Okay. In terms of undergraduate, it is part of the curriculum to do entrepreneurial curriculum is there under innovation and utility. Now we are moving for postgraduate because you cannot move K economy when the bosses are the PhD and they are not innovative and creative, but the subordinates are more entrepreneurial. So we are now moving 2015. The postgraduate now will also be part of the curriculum. You know that 2 weeks that they have for statistics and whatnot, that will be inculcated in the curriculum for the postgraduate. Okay. Now, when they are ready to now move, the Malaysian government have grants from research to development, pre-commercialization, commercialization, setting up of spin-off. All that is now with the help of the government. So they can acquire with good business plan. They are trained to be an entrepreneur. They can, even after they graduate, they can be still be trained for about 6 months by MTDC, Malaysian Technology Development Corporation, and then they can now be able to get, after the training, they are given funds to set up the spin-off company. So, based on this, we are now finding about 14% of undergraduate now are job creators. That is a very low percentage. Postgraduate, 2% are job creators. So we need to have more of this postgraduate now to be able, those with PhD, to be able now to have the, confidence to be able to set up new companies and so on and so forth. So it's backed by the government at the same time. But the future is also, Dato' Musa, university-led growth. Different university is at different stage, but university-led growth, UKM, USM are now into university-led growth, meaning they are the center, the pulse, and around them they will start to create the jobs they work. So this is what we call fortifying the quadruple helix. That means they're working with the government, they're working with venture cap, they're working with the industry to now move. So for RMK 11, UKM Technopolis will now take off, because this is a prime example of how now UKM will now be part and parcel of university-led growth to now move, and this is how K economy will now start. Just like MIT Kendall, just like Oxford, just like Cambridge, then only it can take off. So it's different stage of time. When the government start thinking about that before it cannot happen, because they need to build the reputation. Without our university moving into the ranking and moving into that, the multinational does not come to the university. They poo-poo us. They think they are not capable of becoming. So now the end game or the game changer now is to become a solution provider. Solution provider. Universities are solution provider to the industry. Now they begin to come. And we also, the multinational, have SMEs will always come to the universities. Alright? Will try to come now, provided the university pay attention to now the time. Because university always take their own time to provide the solution. So now we have PPRN, Public-Private Research Network, Professor Dr. Mustafa, so that now you can get money out of this. One project, 50,000. Do it in 3 months. If you get more projects you do. So now the Vice Chancellor have not now to say, okay, can I now assign X number of extra from USIM to now concentrate on becoming solution provider, and then the city will take it. But every project is 50,000. And we have now 50 million to spend this year alone. So if you don't capitalize that, then we're not talking about entrepreneurial mindset also. And solution provider can be on halal, can be on it, depending on the company. So we are having to provide for 1,000 projects for 2015 alone. So you see, it's government working together with the university, otherwise we ourselves also will not be able to move. So we are there providing the help that's needed.
My question is just that actually I'm waiting for you to elaborate more on the high touch concept.
Yeah.
Like USIM, which choose to be a high touch university, can we in USIM also achieve or appear in the top ranking?
When we talk about high touch, we're talking about community engagement. We're talking about service learning. Maknanya, when they go out there, not just to help. Macam today, okay, yesterday you guys came back from Wamsa. What did you learn? You have done a service, but service learning is about what did you learn from that. How now that learning can now move forward. So therefore we have community engagement on that. But the thing is, what you have done is broad. Where is the brain? Tan Sri Zul used to say to me, brain and brawn together, you know. Well, sometimes the brain itself can be better than just the brawn, right? If you want to now clean up Wamsa, right now what you guys are doing is simply brawn. Where is the brain? That is why the government has given MOE to buy Kulit Kelantan. Right? Because to buy Kulit Kelantan, Malik Rai, total shutdown. You need now the brain to come back now to rethink. Because if you build up the same thing that is destroyed, the next flood will be destroyed again. You see, it's like no-brainer. So that's why they ask MOE to now have the brain, to now redesign, restructure balik how now to mitigate and how not to happen again. So this is where you go down. You go down now to learn on the ground what is happening. But when you come back, you should now have new ideas on what should not have happened. You see? So this, and if you now say what should not have happened, so how are you going to do it? So how are you going to do it? You require now the skill, the technology to now be able to mitigate it. So now you have to publish it. So at the end of the day, you still move. Publication, my dear, is not going to be removed from your academic career. It's going to be there. You are in the game, you have to publish. But the question is now with the combination of value and value add to what you are doing. Okay, I don't have time to elaborate, but if I have time, well, that means I have to come back again. But if I have time to concentrate